Hello, all. Thanks for tuning in to our presentation about the Burmese refugees and their history of HIV and AIDS. Our group includes Taravia McGlohorn, Jennifer Miller, Misty May, and Anne McGraw. I hope you enjoy. Let's begin talking about the Burmese culture. The Burmese culture is heavily influenced by Buddhism, being that Buddhism is the major religion practiced. Their culture is also influenced by India, China, and Thailand as well, being very unique and diverse, including various ethnic groups such as Burman 68%, Shan 9%, Karen 7%, Rakhine 4%, Chinese 3%, Indian 2%, Mon 2%, and other 5%. Their official language is Burmese, with a population of 56,320,206 individuals, and 100,200 of that population of Burmese people are located here in the United States. By now, I'm sure you're wondering, where are Burmese refugees from originally? Burmese refugees are from a country in Asia named Myanmar, other known as Burma. Myanmar is located right in between India, China, and Thailand, serving as a crossroad. This explains why the country is one of the most diverse in the world, with over 130 unique subgroups. As you can see in the map shown, Myanmar is in the middle, and you can see India to the left, China to the right, and right below there's Thailand. Political systems in Myanmar. In Burma, there is a parliamentary government which began in March of 2011. Their president or chief of state is Hidden Koya. He's been the president since March 30th, 2016. They have various political parties and leaders. The most popular political party is the National League for Democracy. Let's discuss the major religions in Myanmar, or Burma. The major religion practiced in Burma is Buddhism. Roughly about 90% of the population are Theravada Buddhists. Christianity represents about 4% of the population, with 3% being Baptist and 1% being Catholic. Muslim represent about 4% of the population as well. Animists represent about 1% of the population, and other is 2%. Now let's discuss the group's traditional view of health and illness. The traditional forms of medicine for healing are based on Buddhist beliefs. A shaman is sought for treatment. Good health results from the right balance of hot and cold. If the body becomes too hot or too cold, certain medicines will be taken to bring the body back into balance. Good health also depends on adequate supply of healthy blood. A harmonious state between the mind, body, and soul is essential for good health. Now let's discuss the group's health maintenance, disease prevention, protection practices, and beliefs. Now let's discuss the health maintenance of the Burmese people. Food is an important part of health maintenance. Some foods are avoided during illness, and some are included to increase wellness. For example, a person with hepatitis would avoid yellow foods. Papaya may cause malaria. Amulets are also an important part of health maintenance. People wear jade to protect health. Chinese figures are painted on paper and hung from a door or a wall to protect people from evil. Daily exercises, such as Tai Chi, is an important part of health maintenance as well. Now let's discuss their health beliefs. Burmese believe the human body can be afflicted by 96 diseases and can all be treated by dried or fresh herbs, flowers, roots, barks, leaves, and stems. Herbal remedies are prepared by family members and passed down from generation to generation. Herbal remedies are prepared because they are considered safe and do not have side effects. Some prefer traditional medicine, but many refugees have balanced traditional and Western medicine. Here are some of their disease prevention and protection practices. Asiatic pennywort treats memory and eye diseases. Sweet flag is an herb to treat indigestion and colic. Neem is an antifungal. Tamarind is a fruit used as a laxative. Ginger treats nausea and digestive problems. Blue evergreen hydrangea is an anti-malaria treatment. Sweet broom weed treats diabetes. Donica is a paste made from bark to cool the skin. It is also used as a sun barrier. Bloodletting is a procedure to rid bad blood. Cupping removes cold and damp evils and assists in circulation. Massage, for example, Tanaya, is a type of traditional massage. Acupuncture is puncturing the body to heal or reduce pain. Now let's discuss some of their physical health issues. Burmese do not have a common knowledge of germs related to health. Hand hygiene and kitchen hygiene education is recommended. They do not normally seek health care when well. So explaining important or physical checkups and dental checkups is beneficial. They do not seek health care for preventative purposes. So educating them about the importance of preventative tests and procedures is also beneficial. They believe TB can be spread by smoking, sharing utensils, or air pollution. And as far as sexual health, they are unaware of preventions and treatments of STDs. Now let's discuss mental health. There is little treatment for the mentally ill. It's expected to be stoic, and they are expected not to complain. They turn to religion and religious leaders for help. Those who are extremely mentally ill are cared for by family. They can be considered possessed. Epilepsy is viewed as a form of mental illness. Now let's talk about their spiritual health. As mentioned earlier, 90% are Buddhists, and Burmese follow the Theravada form of Buddhism, which means each person is responsible for their own spiritual success, or karma. Between the ages of 10 and 16, many men and few women live in Buddhist monasteries to learn. Some men will become monks. A monk must not have any diseases. They have spirit dancers, which is believed that spirits enter their body and they can be healed. If one lives a good and harmonious life, he or she will be rewarded in the next life. Moving on, let's talk about the time, space, social organization, and biological variations of the Burmese refugees. Let's begin with time and space. Burmese refugees are present time oriented. They believe in minimal or no contact. The head is considered to be holy, so you never touch the head. Their feet are impure, so you do not touch things with feet or point them at another. When sitting on the floor, they tuck their feet under the body, and they do not sit with their feet pointing towards another, as well as they do not show public displays of affection. Now let's discuss their social organization. The family is very important, as well as showing respect to your elders and parents. The community is considered extended family. They have nuclear families along with extended nuclear families. The husband and wife share responsibilities. Men do most manual labor, while the women tend to do the house and cooking. Now let's talk about biological variations considering the Burmese refugees. They have stomach digestive problems along with stomach cancer, malaria, TB or tuberculosis, hepatitis, hemoglobin E trait, hypertension, liver cancer, HIV/AIDS, and malnutrition. Now let's discuss cultural factors affecting healthcare, such as gender role expectations in relation to the environment. Cultural factors affecting healthcare. Most believe in traditional healing. Many refugees are open to Western medicine in combination with traditional medicine. Many live in extreme poverty and cannot afford medicine and herbs. Many have to walk for days to reach clinics. They have few hospitals and clinics, and the conditions are poor. They do not have enough funding to train people for medical care. Now let's discuss general expectations in relation to the environment. The male is considered the head of the household, but responsibilities are shared. Both men and women do agricultural work, but tasks are separated. The men work on the land and get it ready for planting, and women sow the seeds. They both harvest the crops. Domestic work is performed by women. During ceremonies, men make the food for social gatherings. Religious heads and healers are usually men. Those newly married tend to live with the women's family. Though the men and women discuss issues and come to conclusions together, the man is who discusses those issues outside of the family unit. Now let's talk about the main social factors, which are human rights violations and politics, poverty, and education. In discussing the human rights violations, there is excessive killing and imprisonment. They have natural rights issues, important dates, and a hope for change, which you can learn more about this information in the YouTube video link below. Going in depth about the excessive killing and imprisonment. Since before the 1980s, there has been issues in Burma with killing and imprisonment. In 1980, over 10,000 students were killed in a massacre in protests including students, Buddhist monks, and civilians. During this time, Burma was under a military rule. These issues are still apparent today, and although actions are being in place and change is slowly coming for the Burmese, discrimination of ethnicity, religion, and political views are the sources for violence. In November 2010, Burma had a political shift from military rule to democracy. In October of 2011, over 200 political prisoners were freed. There are currently 128 political prisoners in Burma, and 472 are awaiting trial. These include a wide range of prisoners, including students, land rights activists, journalists, and those who have insulted religion or the military. An example of prisoners is Patrick Lee, who was sentenced to 6 months in prison for mocking a military leader on a Facebook post. Going in depth about the natural rights issues, a large amount of prisoners have been convicted of violating the Peaceful Assembly and Peaceful Possession law. This law requires that any protest must be approved by the police prior to it occurring. Home searches. In one situation, witnessed in the video on human rights violation encountered the military breaking into Muslim homes, tying up the children, and beating them until they were unconscious. Religion. 3 political prisoners were arrested for assaulting an image of Buddha at a bar. They were sentenced to 2.5 years of hard labor. Press. The chief executive officer, Unity News Journal, Tip Side, was sentenced in 2014 to 10 years for disclosing secrets. The sentence has been reduced to 7 years. Some important dates from 2010 to 2012. On November 2010, political change from military style to democracy. October 2011, 200 political prisoners were freed. In December 2011, U.S. Hillary Clinton meets with Aung San Suu Kyi and offers to improve relations if they continue to improve democracy. In January of 2012, more prisoners were released. In December of 2012, privately owned papers are allowed. Important dates from 2013 to 2014. In March of 2013, a state of emergency declared due to 40 deaths and 12,000 Muslims displaced due to ethnic clashes. In October 2014, 3,000 plus prisoners were released, including military intelligence officers. In February of 2014, state of emergency declared due to ethnic and army violence. In March of 2014, protest occurs. Hundreds were arrested. In April of 2014, many journalists imprisoned for newspaper articles. Hope for change. While there are many changes that need to be made to make Burma a safer place, efforts are being made. The current president, under their new established democracy, has a plan to release all political prisoners. Many have already been released, but the citizens of Burma and other international relations are watching closely to see if his promises are kept. While Burma has many resources such as oil, natural gas, and land, poverty still remains high. Here are 3 main reasons why: agriculture-based economy, poor distribution of labor, and no exits. While all of these are interconnected, poverty in Burma is largely in the urbanized area, which is about 70% of the population. Education. Schools lack finances and are poorly equipped. They lack academic resources, and many materials are outdated. While school is technically free, there is a $100 initial fee, which is half of an average monthly salary. Transportation fees for those who reside outside of the city, and higher fees for females. 50% are enrolled in secondary education. Over 95% are in the UK. Ethnic issues. Many school districts are based on location, which impacts ethnic relations. Many schools located in high minority areas end up getting shut down. If a school is shut down, transportation fees go up in order to go to another school. Now let's discuss the environmental factors, including diseases, deforestation and mining, and climate change. Diseases. They're considered very high for major infectious disease rate. High food waterborne illness, high vector-borne illness, and extremely high HIV and AIDS. HIV is the 3rd highest in the country in the Southeast Asia region. In 2009, it was estimated that 240,000 people were affected by HIV. It affects adults from age 15 to 47, with 11,000 HIV known cases affecting children aged 0 to 14. It's estimated to have caused 7,700 to 16,000 deaths in 2014 from HIV. Deforestation has increased for use and need for timber, threatening indigenous people. Mining, a shift toward large-scale destruction techniques, resulting in large amounts of pollution. One villager stated, "I can't see the catfish because the water is so dirty." Large interaction with mercury, and mercury is used to separate out gold particles. Now let's discuss the climate. It was ranked by Berlin as the second worst country affected by extreme weather events from 1990 to 2008. What is changing? An increase in droughts, floods, tropical cyclones, and heat waves. Climate change is due to heavily populated coastlines, large agricultural sectors, and large poverty, most living from $1 to $2 a day. Now let's discuss some of the health-related issues. Many health-related issues stem from a mixture of diseases, poverty, and environmental factors. Diseases such as HIV, poverty from lack of resources, and environmental factors, pollution, climate change, in heavily populated areas. The number one health-related issue is HIV. The biggest health-related issue is the spread of HIV. HIV is common in female sex workers, drug users, and men-on-men sex. However, it is expanding those groups rapidly. Female sex workers. The amount of those infected with the virus is decreasing rapidly. In 2006, 30% of female sex workers had HIV. In 2007, 15.6%. In 2008, 18.4%. In 2009, 11.2%. In drug users, it's high in those who use injection methods. Those who use syringes are 5 times more likely to get HIV. 99% of respondents stated that they knew of a needle syringe exchange program and stated that it was easily accessible. Mid-on-mid sex. HIV is 37 times more likely in this group. 45.5% of those who partake in mid-on-mid sex have HIV between the ages of 40 and 44. Now let's discuss some of the health issues related to culture. They use an ethno-medical system. They practice traditional Chinese and Indian medicine. The more rural and poorer the area, the higher the focus on traditional treatment. The use of plants and dried and powdered substances as medication. Diseases are due to physical imbalances of hot and cold elements as mentioned earlier. Certain foods support or prevent health. Some illnesses are viewed as evil spirits, so ceremonies are taking place to expel those spirits. HIV/AIDS and Burmese social structures. Burma has one of the highest HIV rates in Asia, followed by malaria and tuberculosis. Only 28% of all infected receive treatment in advanced stages of the diseases due to conservative socialist structure, which inhibits proper health education, economic sanctions from other countries, which make access to Western medication difficult. 2 million Burmese refugees live undocumented in large refugee camps, and patients are stigmatized, isolated, and abandoned from their families. Infections due to sex, labor, and drug abuse, and pregnancies outside marriage which are considered shameful, unsafe abortions, and high rates of maternal death. Tuberculosis and malaria. Tuberculosis and malaria are hard to control. There is limited access and resources for diagnostics. Due to multi-drug resistant pathogens, drugs are costly and unaffordable. They spread easily, and they have high exposure to malaria-transmitting mosquitoes and limited resources for prevention. Now let's discuss some of the missteps of U.S. healthcare providers. Most Burmese refugees suffer from undiagnosed PTSD. Special mental health care has to be incorporated into the healthcare system. Language barriers and limited resources to health education. Increase awareness of sexual transmitted diseases, importance of hygiene, understanding causes of diseases, understanding mental health. Our healthcare system is foreign to them and is not perfect. Respect traditions and health beliefs. It's rude to be touched on the head or to be positioned higher than the other individual. Health beliefs may have their benefits and justifications. Take it seriously. Despite cultural differences, they have the same life goals. Provide a safe and successful future for their children. Some ways the cultures are connected and the advantages. Global trade market increases accessibility to food and other resources, and other employment opportunities. Access to different medical approaches that benefit our healthcare systems. In less developed countries profit from Western scientific, technologically based medicine. Cultures connected disadvantages. Global trade market increases the risk of mass exploitation of human and natural resources, making healthcare unaffordable for many people, which increases the gap between rich and poor. Once again, thank you all for tuning in, and here's the list of our references. These references were chosen because they were published in a suitable time, reputable and accurate sources that fit the scope of the information that we were looking for pertaining to the Burmese refugees. Thank you for watching, and we also hope you enjoyed the Burmese traditional music that was played in the background.